I love my mother a lot. A lot. So for me to honor my father and mother, as we hear in the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 12, is not always difficult for me because I love my mother a lot. I especially loved her, as you can see on the picture to the far left, when we were on a Caribbean cruise together. It's easy to love someone when you're on a Caribbean cruise together. I especially loved my mother after I had my second cancer surgery and I returned home after 8 days in the hospital, and my mother cared for me in my recovery. This was my coming home picture, and my mother and Candace had taken all my get well cards and made them into the shape of a heart. It was not difficult to honor my mother at that time. But then, how easy is it to love someone when they become infirm or sick? Or how difficult is it to love people when they start showing signs of dementia, Alzheimer's? The picture on the far right is when I was home helping my mother during her declining health. My mother suffers from congestive heart failure that continues, believe it or not, through her recent doctor appointment to get better. And the doctor's totally shocked, and he doesn't know why her heart's getting better, because that's typically not the progression of congestive heart failure. So, I can rejoice in that, because the last time I was home, my mom's doing better. We were able to go out and check out all those great places to eat around the Chicagoland area. We did massive amounts of shopping therapy, and so, it's not difficult to love someone when they're doing well, but what about when they're not doing as well? How easy is it to honor our father and mother as they continue to age? You see, I love my mother a lot. And so I took issue when my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ told me I needed to hate my mother. We hear in the Gospel of Luke chapter 14, verse 26, if anyone comes to me without hating his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. So is Jesus Christ commanding us to go against the commandment of honoring our mother and father? Is that something Jesus would have us do? Would Jesus command us to break one of the 10 commandments? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Jesus was saying something so outlandish to shake people up and make them think. Because the problem is, the 10 Commandments have almost become, cliche. We kind of know them on a surface level. Fine, I'm going to honor my father and mother. But Jesus is now challenging us to take our understanding of our relationships to a whole nother level. Because the Lord understands God's wisdom. As we hear in the book of Wisdom, chapter 9, verse 13, who can know God's counsel? Or who can conceive what the Lord intends? Jesus knows God's counsel. Jesus knows what the Lord intends. And he is challenging us to follow him in the knowledge he has of his Father. You see, the whole thing Jesus is trying to do is to challenge us to reprioritize our lives. that we are called to love Jesus even more than how much I love my mother. So it's not necessarily that Jesus wants me to love my mother less, which I can't do. He's challenging me to love him more. Why? What would be the point of loving Jesus more? Well, who is going to be the one that is going to help me the most in caring for my mother as she continues to progress in her illness? Who is best for me to follow? By putting Jesus first, making Jesus my priority, that will help me in my love and care for my mother. Putting Jesus first helps me in my relationship with others. Jesus is just saying, look, gang, the challenge is, what do you put before God? Is it possessions? What do you put before God? Is it your own personal needs? What do you put before God? Because anything that you put before God, you're actually making God. And is that going to really help and save you in the long run? Jesus is saying, you need to make me, Jesus is saying, the priority. Above everything else, you put me above even those you love the most. He will be able to show us the way, to help continue to love them. Because the reality is, I love my mother for a number of reasons. I love her because she's my mother. So I love my mother for biological reasons. She's my mother. I love my mother for emotional reasons because it feels all good. I just love my mother. It makes me feel good. I love my mother for emotional reasons. But Jesus is like, but wait a minute. I wanted you to go a step farther. You need to love your mother for spiritual reasons. You need to love your mother completely in a spiritual way, because if you love your mother in a spiritual way, that's going to take your love over the top. That's going to take your love to a whole nother level. That's what we were learning in today's reading from the letter of St. Paul to Philemon, verses 15 and 16. Perhaps this is why he was away from you for a while, that you might have him back forever, no longer as a slave, but more than a slave, a brother, beloved especially to me, but even more so to you, as a man and in the Lord. St. Paul is writing in his letter to Philemon, saying to him, look, because of your relationship with the Lord, by putting the Lord first, that is going to change your relationship with others. In fact, that's going to take your relationship with a runaway slave, Onesimus, and it's going to be able to make him into what? A brother. To change a relationship from that of a slave to a slave owner to brothers. That's what putting the Lord first can do with all of our relationships. It could take all of our relationships to a spiritual level, a greater level, a better level that will sustain us in our journey through life. Because do you think it was easy for Onesimus to take this letter back to his slave owner that he had run away from? What courage do you think that took? What courage do you think it took for Onesimus to go back with this letter, not knowing exactly how Philemon was going to receive it? Philemon wasn't very pleased when his slave ran away from him. And what led Onesimus to run away from Philemon? Maybe Philemon wasn't treating Onesimus very nicely as a slave. We don't know all the backstory, but I just can imagine Philemon taking this letter one step after another. And what was guiding him? His belief in Jesus Christ. He was following the Lord. He was following his Lord, knowing that Lord was the light in the darkness that was guiding him back to a whole new level of relationship with the slave owner Philemon. And the Lord can do that for all of us, because the reality is crosses in life happen. Illnesses and difficulties in our relationships with others happen. It's not that Jesus is giving us the cross. I mean, did Jesus give himself the cross? No, but he took it upon himself, didn't he? Did that stop him? Even taking the cross, did that stop him? And for us to follow Jesus, he made it very clear in the Gospel of Luke chapter 14, verse 27. Jesus says, whoever does not carry their own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. You see, we mix this up like thinking, oh, Jesus is going to give us this cross and we need to carry it to follow him. No, Jesus is saying life gives you crosses. I just don't want it to get you down and keep you down and hold you back. Crosses happen. But don't give up. Don't give in. Take one step after another with that cross and keep on going towards that light in the darkness. Don't let crosses take you down, but carry your cross and follow Jesus. Because the reality is, with Jesus leading the way, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay as we care for those who we love, who may be declining. We're going to be okay when our relationships are being challenged. We're going to be okay if we put Jesus first. If we make him the priority over everyone and everything, because then Jesus could take our relationships to a whole other level. Not just biological, not just emotional, but spiritual. So reflect for a moment. How are the relationships in your life right now? How are the relationships in your life right now? Does that cross feel a little heavy every once in a while? Don't give up. Don't give in. You're going to be all right. Just take one step after another and follow that light in the darkness, Jesus.